shots. The allowed will stay the same through each round. And Chapman is now on to her wall balls. She's in lane number 1. And Nicole Soto is lane 4 on Paige Henry. They're on the wall balls. Bethany Miller is getting to the wall ball as well. And Olivia Sulik is working on her set of 36. She's on the regular screen in lane number 8. Bethany Miller in the middle of lane 6.
In the triceps, all the musculature you're using for that dip portion.
Paige Henry on the left of your screen in lane 3 is now done with her first set of 9 ring muscle ups, and she is on to her 18 wall balls. Leah Irons, meanwhile, has finished her first round of the second portion. It's back to the true form runner now, the trainer, pardon me, for 450 meters. Leah Irons out of CrossFit Ammo in Allen, Texas. She was 48th in North America out of the quarterfinals. Olivia Sulik in lane 8 on the wall balls with Nicole Soto and Paige Henry. Henry has actually just finished at the other end of the floor and will join Irons back on the true form trainer. Top 2 right now in this opening heat. First 3 heats for the women. Leah Irons on the right, Paige Henry on the left, and now Nicole Soto, who is in 3rd place in this heat, will advance her chest piece and move back to the true form trainer. Emma Chapman on the outside here of the floor. She's in lane 1. Now left side of your screen, moving back to the true form trainer along with Nicole Soto. Top 4 athletes on your screen.
And every so often you see Irons just kind of let her arms go. Just a little bit of a shake out there. So much of this workout is in the muscle up, the pull, utilizing those arms and shoulders, spending all that time on the runner. You just kind of want to let it go a little bit, let some blood flow, shake it out a little bit.
Less than 12 minutes remaining before we hit the 27-minute time cap. We are in the second portion of this event. The 2 rounds of the 450 meters on the true form runner, the 9 ring muscle ups, and the 18 wall ball shots.
It's kind of a visual checkpoint too, to see the kind of pacing of the treadmill that they're doing. They've had 2 taped markers on the track, so you can kind of see the pacing of each athlete as far as how fast those markers are rotating through.
Hand in the air for Leah Irons. She is closing out her final 450-meter run in the second portion of Inception. She'll return to the rings after this and complete 9 ring muscle ups before closing out segment 2 with 18 wall ball shots. Irons coming in 19th place overall, 109 points. That's 75 back of Kat Grillo for 9th place. Again, 9th place is the final spot that gets to go to the last chance online qualifier.
And the more I look at it, the more I feel like this set of 9 muscle-ups really is the crux for some of the women. At this point, you're 27 muscle-ups in. A significant chunk of gymnastics work. You've already run over a mile, and you have one more big set as far as what's required on the muscle-ups. Once you get past this point, you know, the sets get smaller. 6 is a little bit more manageable. You might not have to break those up for some of the top athletes. This last set of 9 really is the big hill you gotta climb.
Paige Henry in lane 3 is in 2nd place. Megan O'Donnell is in lane 2, and she is closing out her first round of this second portion of the event. And just like the movie Inception, this event can use a little bit of a detailed explanation in order to follow it. We are in the second portion, the 2 rounds, the 450-meter true form run, the 9-ring muscle-ups, and the 18 wall balls, and then 3 rounds of the same amount of work total to close it out. We're approaching the 18-minute mark here.
Yeah, rose by any other name still smells just as sweet, and a triplet under any other format is just as tough.
Leah Irons to the wall ball, 18 to complete. She will advance her chess piece, and then it's the 3 rounds of the 300 meters, 6-ring muscle ups, and 12 wall ball shots. Is in second place. She's on her wall balls as well. She's on the left restraint. Nicole Soto in the all pink. She and Becca Boyd-Miller fighting for third. As is Olivia Stewart. She's off to the right in lane 8. So 2 lanes down from Becca Boyd-Miller on the right side. Becca Boyd-Miller just methodically moving up here. Is done with segment 2. She will advance her chest piece. She thought maybe she had 1 more rep, but the judge confirmed, no, you're finished.
I think we've all been there, Sean.
Go enjoy that true form trainer. Advances the chest piece, and now 300 meters, 6-ring muscle ups, 12 wall ball shots, 3 rounds of that combination. Approaching the 20-minute mark. Paige Henry is done with section 2, and she will join Leah Irons on the true form trainer.
Those chess pieces you see there, just another element that I think has been part of the evolution of the sport. It was long ago, those didn't exist, and as the test starts to evolve, you start to find ways to make the visual experience match the physical experience that the athletes go to give a good viewing experience, and that's part of it.
Becca Boyd-Miller has just 5 reps to go here before she closes out the second portion. Looking to push into the top 3. Emma Chapman now is in 3rd place as Chapman has moved back to the true form trainer, giving the 3rd segment for her. The fight for 4th is between Nicole Soto and Becca Boyd-Miller. Soto is done. Miller is done. The 2 of them working their way back down the floor. They will advance their chess piece, and they will begin the 3rd and final segment of this event.
Boyd-Miller, she just looks so calm and composed, always on the competition floor.
The one thing we've always said about her is her mental game is just as good as anybody else out there.
It's crazy because sometimes you look at her as an athlete on paper, obviously very talented, obviously elite, you have to be to make it that many times, but nothing necessarily jumps out. When you talk to her, you see her in person on the competition floor, you can tell she's a gamer. Former collegiate basketball player, just one of those types of athletes that likes the in-person competition, the game day vibe. You can really tap into that to find new heights.
Leah Irons moving back to the rings for her first of 3 sets of 6. Paige Henry's just about done with her 300-meter run. And she will move back to the ring to join Leah Irons on the rings. And Irons going to work on that first set. Here comes Paige Henry. Chapman's judge's hand is in the air. Chapman looks to stay in 3rd place in this heat behind Leah Irons and Paige Henry. And Becca Boyd-Miller has moved ahead of Nicole Soto and now into 4th place. As Emma Chapman works her way back to the ring to start her first set of 6 ring muscle ups. Leah Irons in lane 5 in the blue shorts is done with her first set of 6 and now 12 wall shots, and she'll work her way back to the true form trainer for another 300 meters.
Irons had to take a few extra seconds there coming off the muscle ups. Her last rep that she was shooting for that set of 6 unbroken, really had to fight for lockout at the top of the muscle up there. Maybe took a little bit extra out of her, had to rest a little bit longer in the transition to the wall ball. Something to keep in mind as we move into this next round of muscle-ups off of the trainer.
Irons is done with the first of 3 rounds here in the third and final portion of the event. Approaching the 23-minute mark, and there will be 4 minutes left to go before we hit the time cap. Nicole Soto in the pink is working her way back to the ring to start her first set of 6-ring muscle-ups, but it's Leah Irons who has pretty much led for the entirety of this heat. Back on the True Form trainer for another 300 meters. Paige Henry, meanwhile, is getting set to close out her set of 12 wall balls, and here comes Paige Henry back to the True Form trainer. Emma Chapman moving back to start her second 300-meter run. Top 3 athletes on the screen from right to left. Leah Irons, Paige Henry, and Emma Chapman. Leah Irons, your leader. Right side. As we approach the 24-minute mark, 3 minutes to go before we hit the 27-minute time cap. First of 3 heats. Becca Boyd-Miller back on the True Form trainer. She is in 4th place in this heat.
So far, impressive performance from Irons. Looks very composed on the runner. Nice, relaxed posture. Managed to lead wire to wire pretty much. So
Judge's hand is in the air for Leah Irons, meaning that she is almost done and now finished with her second 300-meter run. Back to the rings for 6 more ring muscle-ups. Nicole Soto has closed out her first round in this third and final portion. Sorry to that pass.
like I mentioned earlier, Irons really had to fight for that last rep in the first set of 6 muscle-ups. So interesting to see here if she's able to stay unbroken, or if she'll have to break them. Maybe opening up the door for Paige Henry, who's been on her heels this entire time.
2 minutes left before we hit the 27-minute time cap. Leah Irons now just hopping up to start her set of 6. The second of 3 she needs to complete. As Paige Henry is finished with her 300-meter run, and she will join Irons on the rings.
And Irons using the momentum as her feet come back from the initial kip up to get to lockout. And she got a no rep there.
Paige Henry on the left of your screen in lane 3 is chalking up. Emma Chapman has returned to the rings as well, and she's hopping right up. So Chapman gets to work ahead of Paige Henry, and it looks like Emma Chapman, who continues to chicken wing those muscle-ups, has passed Paige Henry for second place in this heat. A little more than a minute to go before we hit the time cap, and Becca Boyd-Miller working her way back to the ring. Leah Irons is done with those 6-ring muscle-ups, now 12 wall ball shots. She will not be able to complete this event inside the time cap, but she will have the mark to beat with 2 heats remaining. If she can hang on here, because Emma Chapman on the left of your screen has closed the gap.
And one of the things Irons wasn't able to do is transition from utilizing the backswing once she kips up on the muscle-up, which is a little bit more aggressive, to taking a second to let the legs come back through a second time for a more traditional kip up on the ring dip. That's something that Becca Voigt was just able to do and able to stay unbroken as well. And Becca Voigt has now caught Paige Henry just a few reps behind her.
Leah Irons on the right and Emma Chapman on the left got to the runner at the same time. This one is going to come down to how many meters they can complete on this thing. With 3 seconds to go before we hit the time cap, we will have to figure out the official score to see who has the mark to beat. But Emma Chapman putting on a late charge and may have overtaken Leah Irons for the win in this heat. It will come down to who is able to complete the most amount of meters in that final 300-meter run.
And if she was, talk about brilliant pacing. from Emma Chapman. You know, in actuality, it's nice to front run for most of the way, but what really matters is that final result at the end, and she was clearly gaining steam, was able to go unbroken on the final set of muscle-ups, and it gave her an opportunity at stealing a heat win.
Emma Chapman with a great push late. 2 more heats remain here in event number 4 for the individuals. Stay with us in Knoxville, Tennessee. Individual competition continues on day 2 of the Mid-Atlantic CrossFit Challenge in Knoxville, Tennessee, from the Thompson Bowling Arena on the campus of the University of Tennessee. Sean Woodland and Tommy Marquez here in the booth. Nikki Brazier is down on the competition floor. We are through the first of 3 heats of the 4th event for the women, aptly titled Inception, the longest event that they will face in this competition.
The same amount of work each time, starting with 900 meters on the true form, 18 ring muscle-ups, and 36 wall balls. But then they split it into 2 rounds and then into 3 rounds. So in total, 2,700 meters of running, 54 ring muscle-ups. That hurts just saying that. And then over 100 wall balls.
Your start list presented by CBD MD. Fisa Gaffi in lane 4. Slowly creeping up the leaderboard. Right now sits in 7th place overall. She's only 36 points back with Kristen Hollenbrander for 5th.
Lane 4, and she's had back-to-back 4th place finishes after a 21st place finish to start the weekend. She's climbed back in contention for one of those last chance qualifier spots. Needs another strong performance to maybe take a game spot.
Nicole Gibson, she is in lane 7. She is in 11th place and trying to get into the top 9 and into the last chance online qualifier, but she's just 9 points back of Kat Willow for that 9th place.
Yeah, she's the next highest ranked athlete in this field. Has a great opportunity, 9 points. That's just a few spots in this event. Could potentially end day 2 in contention for a last chance qualifier spot.
Nicole Gibson working on her 900-meter run. We saw in Heat 1, no athlete able to complete all the work in inside the 27-minute time cap. Emma Chapman and Leah Irons had a great battle to see who could establish the top score. I want to thank one of our partners for today's broadcast, Thorne, personalized scientific wellness. Visit Thorne.com and check out the official supplement partner of CrossFit, trusted by U.S. national teams and more than 100 professional sports teams. Meters to start here on the True Form Trainer, and then 18 ring muscle ups followed by 36 wall ball shots. Meredith Swindle in lane 8. She was the first All-American in the history of the Stetson softball team in 2014 as a pitcher. She was 27-9, had a 1.26 ERA. She hit .342, 15 home runs and 46 RBIs that season.
Talk about helping your own cause if you're on the mound and hitting them out of the park. Some tremendous stats there.
It's Fia Sagafi in lane 4. We got to talk to her a little bit on Thursday before the competition started when the athletes were checking in. She had a lot of great energy, felt good, felt really confident coming into the competition, and she is well within striking distance of one of those spots inside the top 5, and she has certainly had a breakout year this year.
Yeah, and you know, it comes on the heels of a heartbreaking turn of events last season. She had a second straight invite to the CrossFit Games as an individual. Fortunately, due to COVID, the resorting of invites, she had that taken away because we saw her basically guarantee her spot at the Mayhem Classic last year. And when we got to talk to her at Athlete Check-In, a lot of attention has gone to the reinvigoration of Scott Panchik. Well, the byproduct of that, too, is he trains with Fia Sagafi every single day. She works at his affiliate. He has kind of mentored her as she's come up in the sport. So as Scott has tried to flourish again as an individual, Fia is right there with him in lockstep in her own development as well.
Well, Fia said she had to drag Scott through all 6 of these events to practice them. And Scott was saying, I don't know if I want to do all of them. But Fia was like, no, we're doing them all. So and that she is well practiced coming into this.
And that was the best part. You know, sometimes that's the yin and the yang, right? Fia is a young, hungry athlete, has that fire. Maybe a little overzealous sometimes when it comes to attacking and preparing, and Scott Panchik, the grizzled veteran, you know, maybe saying pump the brakes, but in this instance, you know, they can help each other, pulling each other outside of their comfort zones.
Shaylin Laurie in lane 10. She's an emergency communications operator at Kent County Sheriff's Department for a year and a half. She's also been a sheriff's deputy for 2 years, and when the military opened it for Native females, she enlisted in the Army and commissioned through Officer Candidate School in April of 2017. She was the first female honor graduate from the Infantry Basic Officer Leader course in August of 2017, and she won the 2021 Occupational Games in the Female Law Enforcement Officer Division. And her judge's hand is in the air. She is one of 2 athletes who are on the final stages of this initial 900-meter run. Danielle Dunlap in lane 5, hopping off the True Form Trainer. She will be the first woman working her way back to the rig, and she will complete 18 ring muscle-ups before moving on to 36 wall ball shots, and Shaylin Laurie is right behind her in second place.
And Danielle Dunlap making an early mistake. She thought she had to go to the wall balls right away. Actually got a rep in.
She will not be able to count that towards her total,
unfortunately.
Now more athletes working their way back to the rig. Danielle Dunlap coming into 13th place overall, 166 total points, 18 points back of Kat Grillo for 9th place. 9th place is the last spot for the last chance online qualifier.
And one of the things I was watching towards the end of the last heat, as fatigue starts to set in, an athlete's technique on the muscle ups start to break down. A lot of these athletes early on, it's become kind of the standard practice. You kip up, and as your legs return from that initial kip up, you use that momentum, that little back upswing, to be the kind of pseudo kip for the dip portion of the muscle up. But as you start to get tired, being able to hang there in that bottom dip portion for a split second, let your legs swing back around a second time, utilize that for a more traditional kip is a nice tool to have in your back pocket.
Nicole Gibson in lane 7 is on her set of 18 ring muscle ups. 11th place overall coming into the event. 9 points back of Kat Grillo for 9th place. Remember, 9th place, once again, the final spot for the Last Chance Online Qualifier. Spots 6 through 9 earn a trip to the Last Chance Online Qualifier. Spots 1 through 5 go directly to the CrossFit Games. And Nicole Gibson is on to her set of 36 wall balls, 20-pound wall balls with a 9-foot target.
And remember, this semifinal in particular for the women gets 9 spots because we have some athletes that were displaced due to COVID travel restrictions. So athletes like Emma Chapman, Carla Henriette, Tia Clark Toomey, all couldn't travel to their originally sorted semifinal due to the restrictions. So as a result, CrossFit's added an additional spot at the Last Chance Qualifier just in case to make sure these athletes have another opportunity to compete.
Danielle Dunlap in lane 5 was the first woman to the rings. And now is your leader on the wall balls. Rebecca Cristellier down lane 3, the left side of the screen. Next to Fisa Gavi in lane 4. They're also on the wall balls. Fisa Gavi is trying to gain ground on women who are all competing in the next heat.
And that's the tough part without the resort in between events. Sagapi has moved up into the top 10, but she'll have to wait till the end of the day for them to adjust the lane assignment. So right now she's competing with the understanding that all the heavy hitters in the final heat are coming after her, and she's going to have to, put a significant effort in here in spite of that. And if there's one thing that I think she can kind of keep in her back pocket is the fact that in the previous heat, Emma Chapman didn't lead at any point until the end, was able to build steam as this event moved along.
Nicole Gibson is the first woman done with the first portion of this event. Now she begins her 2 rounds of the 450-meter run, the 9-ring muscle-ups, and the 18 wall ball shots. Danielle Dunlap is moving her chest piece, and she is in 2nd place. These are 2 women who are very much in contention for a spot inside the top 9. 27-minute time cap on this event. This is the 2nd of 3 heats, and with 1 heat down, no athlete has been able to complete all the work in this event inside that 27-minute time cap. And now Rebecca Fuselier on the left side of your screen, she is done with part 1. She did not advance her chest piece though. Spots 6 through 9, the overall standings. After all is said and done here at the Mid-Atlantic CrossFit Challenge, we'll get one more chance to earn a trip to the CrossFit Games through the Last Chance Online Qualifier. 38 men and women qualify out of the semifinals. 2 each will qualify out of the Last Chance Online Qualifier.
And that will be an online competition. We haven't seen that for quite some time. You can remember back in 2009, there was actually a Last Chance Qualifier as well. And it was important because Tommy Hackenbrook, the eventual 2nd place man at the CrossFit Games that year, showed up as an unknown because he qualified through that avenue and ended up taking home a silver medal.
More athletes starting to finish up the first portion of this event. Fisa Gafi back on the runner as she begins her first 450-meter run. The leader so far is down the right of your screen, and that is Nicole Gibson, who was 33rd at the California Regional back in 2017. Danielle Dunlap in lane 5. She's in second place out of Evolution Athletics in West End, North Carolina.
With the 27-minute time cap, Sean, the kind of checkpoints you're looking at is every 9 minutes for each one of these sections because it is the same amount of work. We hope that, at least early on, you get a little bit ahead of that 9-minute pace per section because you're going to have added transitions in with each section. The first athletes were to the runner around the 8-minute mark, so a little bit of a hedge so far.
Nicole Gibson Bird is working on her 450-meter run. We mentioned that last chance online qualifier. She comes in 11th place overall. 175 total points, 9 points back of Kat Rulo, who is sitting right now in 9th place overall. Gibson Burke and Danielle Dunlap off the runner at the same time and back to the wings, where they will do their first of 2 sets of 9 wing muscle-ups.
And in the first portion, this is where Gibson Burke took over. Much more comfortable on the reins. Nice strong pull, catching a little bit higher. Ripped off bigger chunks.
100 points to the winner of this event. The top 2 athletes on the screen, Nicole Gibson Burke on the right and Danielle Dunlap on the left. Gibson women getting set to finish up their first 450-meter run here in part 2.
Gibson Burke, unbroken on the set of 9. First athlete we saw do that. None of the athletes were able to maintain an unbroken set in the previous heat, so already we're seeing some of these women a little bit more aggressive in attacking this event.
So Danielle Dunlap on the left of your screen is done. She's in second place in this heat. In lane number 10, Shannon Laurie working her way back to the rig. Rebecca Fuselier is there as well, and Fisa Gaffi is now returning.
Fisa Gaffi just jogged to the rig. That kind of leads me to believe she's been laying low, kind of playing coy a little bit here. If she has the energy to jog back to the rig, knowing that she's going to rip these muscle-ups. Muscle-ups are a strength for her. It's an area where she's going to be able to pick up some ground as this event moves along. So maybe she's purposely been slowing down on the runner, knowing she's going to empty the gas tank a little bit later on.
We saw Nicole Gibson work her way back to the runner, but Fisa Gaffi, we mentioned, 7th place overall. The women she is chasing, they are all in the next heat. But she has to be mindful of the women in this heat because at 204 points, she doesn't have a ton of breathing room between herself and a lot of the women in this heat who are chasing her down.
And she came down despite looking perfectly comfortable in those muscle-ups. Maybe a strategic break there. Would have liked to maybe see her take a chance and try and go for unbroken a little bit earlier in this event, considering that she's still chasing 3 athletes from this heat.
These are your heat leaders right now. Nicole Gibson Burke is on the right, and Danielle Dunlap is on the left. They are on their second and final 450-meter run here in part 2 of this event. As we are more than halfway to the 27-minute time cap. About a little more than 13 minutes remaining before we hit that. 450-meter on the runner once again, then 9 more ring muscle-ups and 18 wall ball shots. Rebecca Fuselier on the left in lane 3. She is in 3rd place in this heat. Fisa Gaffi on the left side. You see her running back and moving in chest piece. She has just finished up her first set of 18 wall balls, and she is in 4th place in this heat. Fuselier, a 2-time teenage competitor, she's closest to the camera. She was 10th in 2017 in the 16 to 17-year-old division and finished 9th in 2016.
And this seems like we're getting to that stage as far as the evolution of the sport. We're seeing more and more teenage athletes starting to make the jump over to the individual side. Obviously, Haley Adams as well. well advertised in her immediate jump to the top of the women's division.
Nicole Gibson first judge's hand went in the air just ahead of Danielle Dunlap. They continue to be the top two women in this second of 3 heats. After this, it's back to the rig for a final set of 9 ring muscle-ups and then one final set of 18 wall ball shots. And then it's in the front 3. Dunlap and Gibson work. Dunn at the same time, and Dunlap, who did not advance her chest piece the last time, has to do it now. Nicole Gibson is chopping up on the right side.
Last lap, clock stops once you hit the carpet.
Lisa Goffey is top trainer, and she's working her way back to the ring. She's moving to 3rd place behind Rebecca Fuselier. Fuselier, pardon me, is now 4th. And Lisa Goffey up on the rings in a hurry. She has
back in
6 reps, then 12 wall ball shots. Here are your top 3. Lisa Goffey bottom left. Nicole Gibson
6:48.